So I think we're live. This video, well, I just found a video online because I was interested in seeing like what I don't know. Have you used the Apple Vision Pro? Have you had a chance to see it live? Do you know what it even is?
I've heard of it. I have not got a chance to use it. I've seen it. I know Facebook has one too, right?
Yes, Oculus, but Apple is saying so Oculus is virtual reality, and I guess
this one's augmented reality. Yeah, I got it.
Well, no, they say it's spatial computing. You know, Apple always wants to upstage everybody and be fancy. They're like, don't call it virtual reality, don't call it augmented reality. It's spatial programming, and they might have a point. And have you seen any of the clips? Because I'm gonna roll a clip. It's 5 minutes, but we can kind of cut it down. We can edit it down later. But I'm looking, like, when I saw videos of it in the beginning, I was like, okay, I think we can probably apply this to e-commerce in some fashion, kind of tying it to our niche. Have you seen any videos of it being used by Marquise Brownlee or any of those guys?
I did not see the Marquise Brownlee one. No, I think the last one I watched from him was the solar. He installed solar all over his house, Tesla solar.
Okay,
it was sick, but yeah, I have not seen this.
Okay, so well, this is not a Marquise Brownlee clip, but have you seen any clips about Vision Pro? Nothing. No. Okay, so I'm happy to be the first person introducing you to, I guess, clips of it, and hopefully maybe we can record some video of actually using it one day. We'll be like one of those lucky people, but it's like $3,000, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna roll the video to see. Basically, as soon as I saw it, I thought, okay, this probably has some implications in e-commerce, and this video is specifically showing us like how, like, you know, someone applied it in that context, and I think it's pretty interesting.
As you may know, next to headsets, I love wearing outfits paired with sneakers that make me just feel good. Since I got my Apple Vision Pro headset, I've discovered a very cool app that offers an immersive online shopping experience for, that's right, kicks. But before we dive into that, if you're even slightly interested in fashion, you've probably heard of StockX. It's a marketplace where buyers and sellers can negotiate on a one.
I'm just going to skip this ad. Let's see here.
Well, you know, it's funny. I could react already to that. That concept of like a virtual shoe store where you're walking through and putting them in your basket.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like, if you could do that and hold the shoe and look at it, that's really cool. But actually shopping that way is much less efficient than like a normal website. But we can continue.
Shop online, but imagine creating an interactive shop from anywhere you want, giving the sensation that the items you're interested in are physically present before even making a purchase. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. So let's put on the vision, shall we, and jump straight into the future. As we navigate to StockX on Apple's headset, you'll notice it doesn't look much different from what you're accustomed to on a mobile device.
And what I was gonna say, if you notice it, if you notice, I don't know if you've used the Oculus or any of those augmented reality tools. The difference between Apple Vision Pro and those other tools is they create an environment and you can only interact with that environment, versus this being, I guess. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it is just augmented reality, but I've used the Oculus, and you're kind of like trapped in a particular area, and you can't really move out of it, and you can't see the rest of the world around you. Versus the Vision Pro, right? Everything you're doing is still visible in the physical world. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, Pokemon Go, right? Like it's
the same.
Yeah, like, did you remember that game where you can catch the Pokemon that are like running around in your yard and stuff?
Yes.
Yes, I mean I think they rebranded it, but this is cool. I think I'm already starting to think it's cooler than like a website in a lot of ways. Obvious downside is wearing the goggles, but you know.
Yeah. So let's see where this goes. But you made a comment. You were like, you don't think it's as efficient as a website?
No, I take it back. Sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like this has gotten to the point where it might be good enough, but
like for instance, even the screen we're looking at now, like if I'm in the virtual shoe store, as long as I have like a virtual filtering system that I can press on for the different colors and sizes, then it is as efficient as like it. You could easily add the feature to this and make it better than a website. So
exactly, and we might be building an app for this before,
I'm down. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna roll the clip and see where this goes.
Everything is there, from featured shoes to shopping by look. And for instance, when I select one of these Instagram photos, it tells me what type of shoe they're wearing with their outfit. If I like what I see, then I can get additional information, such as cost based on my size, and view asks, sales, and of course bids. While most of this is similar to the phone app, the experience goes next level when we take a seat. Watch this. Once returned to the landing page and we hit try now, we embark on the future of sneaker. StockX gradually transforms your room into a sneaker paradise. What's fascinating is that for the most realistic result, each shoe is rendered in full 3D and adapts to the incoming light. Nerdy details aside,
I think that's pretty cool because a lot of times, like, I'm very picky about buying shoes, and like I'll go to the store, like it's very different to look at a 2D picture of a shoe and think like, oh, it looks good from this angle. It looks great in pictures, but then I like to go in a store and like look at the shoe on my actual foot. Like from different angles and stuff like that. It's still not exactly putting it on your foot and seeing it in a camera, but definitely a whole, like a way better experience than just seeing like a 2D rendition or like a photo of it, right? I'm definitely a fan. And it sounds like you sound like you may be converted at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to it. I think their big limiting factor here is that headset.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's definitely a steep price point. I think it was around $3,000. Maybe this guy will talk about it in the video. Yeah, but as the technology matures, the price will go down. I could definitely see someone spending, I don't know, $250, $300 on this and it being worth it. $3,000 is a little bit outrageous right now.
Well, and especially if you imagine 100 years from now when it's a pair of glasses, like why wouldn't you have this technology? Like this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it and just like within e-commerce, like, okay, what is the next step in e-commerce, right? I mean, how faster can your checkout be? how like everybody is offering subscriptions and I don't know, the PDPs are pretty standardized, search is pretty optimized, right? I mean, I definitely feel like this is kind of going to be standard technology. People aren't going to right it not only for e-commerce, but in other aspects of life, but definitely like shopping and buying stuff and being online is just like so integrated into society. So I think this is just the next step, even outside of e-commerce, but technology in general, right? Our phones aren't getting any better.
I don't know necessarily. I can't 100% no, because like if you think of the mass appeal of the phone, the price point of it, right? Like an Apple iPhone is $1,000, right? I mean, 1,500 I think are the top Pro. So everybody basically, let's say in the US, we're the top richest people in the world or whatever. Like we all kind of get the new phones every year and we stay at that level, but I don't think your common man is going to be on this thing for at least 3 to 5 years. So you might get ahead of the curve and start learning this tech to be an e-commerce guy. Or let's say you have a customer base like a jewelry store or a gun or something where, maybe not gun, but something where your audience will have that ability to have the headset, then that could be, you could be ahead in that area. But I don't think normal people are going to have this for a long time. Maybe, it's better to get ahead, but I don't see it soon.
No. So I wasn't speaking to the timeline. I just meant like in general, eventually I think this becomes standard.
Maybe, but I think right now, like in the first 5 to 10 years of this, it's doctors and like specialists. Like this is a piece of equipment that a business buys to do a specialized function.
So you don't think these are going to become as standard as an iPhone in the next 5 to 10 years?
No, I mean it could happen, but it's like I couldn't predict that for sure. That everybody's gonna start wearing glasses with this stuff on it. I don't know. It might be. I mean, I might. Maybe I'm in the. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's still early, right? You've only seen
a
clip, only 2 minutes of it, right? I've seen a whole lot more content,
okay.
so like I'm a little bit more sold on its applications in the next 10 years, because I could even see developers, right? Assuming AI doesn't take us all out, I could see developers using this to like have a virtual workspace wherever they go and not having to have to purchase a million screens, because that's a really big application.
Oh yeah,
that I think stands out. But again, I've seen a whole lot more content on this, so I'm definitely a little bit more sold than you are.
Yeah, I guess for me, the way when I think of, let's say 15 to 20 years, I would hope it wouldn't take, putting something over your eyes. Like there would be maybe a projection technology. Because have you seen those like 3D billboards that like they have in Japan and stuff it's like a spinning fan, but you actually see a 3D object?
I was nodding my head at first, but no, I don't think I've seen that. No.
Because I think there's like technologies too where this doesn't, like, this is a great use case or a minimum viable product of what I think is coming. Whether or not you have to have the thing over your face or not, I don't know.
So I guess the implementation is what like you're like not fully on board with. You don't see these goggles as the future, but the technology in general you think is useful. It sounds like. Yeah,
because do you remember Google Glass?
Yeah,
like it is awesome and people love it, but you're also, once you kind of have that thing on your face, it's a whole social thing that's there's something to that, so we have to consider it.
Yeah, it's like if you went out with somebody and they had these goggles on their face, like how would the conversation be? It'd be a little awkward, right? But let's see what else he talks about in this video.
Yeah.
You can then officially commence the sneaker hunt. You simply select the shoe you're interested in with a brief gesture, causing it to fly towards you for closer inspection. These are highly detailed scans of the actual kicks, by the way, allowing you to take your time deciding if they're a keeper or wanting to swap them for a different style. By zooming in, you can check every possible detail up close to ensure they are fully authentic, and it even casts a shadow on the surface beneath the shoe, which is pretty sick. The experience is so convincing, you can almost feel the material and smell its newness. Jokes aside,
can I react real quick? So yeah. I think like what completes the circle of what you described and what you're looking at here is you go into the store, right? You put one of these on, you've done your filtering, you're now looking at the shoe you want, and in the back, a machine is sending one in your size. Oh, you put it down? Okay, it's putting it back. And you, like, as you're doing this in their store, like going through the options, you just have the one on your way in your size. And if you wait long enough, it shows up and you can put it on, right? Like,
so you're thinking this doesn't completely replace the store experience, at least not initially, but it could be, let's say, in a crowded store, you could interact with with all of the shoes without having to like physically touch them, or it could enhance the experience of going in a store a little bit.
Yeah, because think about how Amazon's fulfillment centers work. That could sort of be the back of the store with the robots just starting to do stuff based on what you're doing.
Yeah.
bringing you your size if it's available, But anyway, I think that would be a great application of like right now you could take this and start doing that.
Yeah. I mean, so you'd have like I don't know, like an area with a couple Apple Vision Pros, and people could just throw them on and interact with the virtual store. I guess it would kind of be like almost like people that want to do self checkout, and then there's people that want to do like the regular checkout versus people who want to interact with the virtual store versus the physical store until the technology is so commonplace
No, I
and
mean,
so good that it almost replaces it. Go ahead.
I mean, you could force it as a shoe store owner, right? And just build like a machine in the back that does it. And the front is just the consoles. You only can enter, and there's like a hole where the shoe would come out that you could try on or put it back in. And that's an automated store, like
no one works there, right? It's just you interacting with this virtual store, and then when you decide you want a shoe, some type of robot takes it out and gives it to you so you can try it on.
No, I would think it's a conveyor belt, right? Like that's what Amazon has, and there's just all their packages just go around and then they swatch back to wherever they were. You would have to have someone in the store to make sure that people aren't stealing, I would think. But I don't know. I mean, maybe not. If it's in a nice enough neighborhood, you get away with it.
Don't steal, man. Like, why would they steal stuff? Come on.
Or just let them have it. Yeah, a few people here and there. No big deal.
No. I'm kidding, because I mean Walmart had that issue with self checkout, right? I think they had to like do some stuff, shut it down in certain places, and charge people to use self checkout because of like all of the theft and stuff. So I mean, the new technology is always going to have like, I guess, hurdles that you need to kind of figure out. But in the future, AI is going to have like facial recognition is going to handle all that, right? You steal something and the cops will be at your house waiting for you.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is I had the idea here. I'll give it out to all of YouTube. And I don't know if this is legal or whatever, if some horrible thing can happen, but like, why not just hang like cameras in public places, right?
Oh my God.
You're like, that's my camera. Let's say even I buy a piece of land, right? That's sort of in public, and I put a camera on it, and then I just record everybody, right? And I guess, the part that's bad would be, because like I could then set up a website where if you wanted, you could go up and upload a picture. And if anyone had ever walked by that camera, I could then show you their face. They were there at this time on that day, right? So like, is that legal? Is that cool or not? And then can I charge people not to show up in the results? You know what I mean? Like that whole idea is, I don't know, like in America and like legally, are there going to be villagers with pitchforks, right? Like, take that camera down. I don't know. So
yeah, I definitely feel like we're reaching a dystopian society level of technology that we're gonna have. What's that show? Black Mirror. Yeah, we're gonna have like these Black Mirror like situations pretty soon. And I mean, even like how we were talking about it the other day, like, okay, with AI, like what is it gonna mean to work in the future, right? Is everybody gonna be a content creator, or are we just going to be leveraging data and technology? And then like, okay, if we're leveraging data and people's attention, which is kind of where we're at already, like how does that affect society? Just like super interesting. But we want to
honestly, it dovetails really well into one of my topics, which is modern ethics, right? Because I think for us and on this channel, we're probably going to look at AI quite a bit. So I started looking into like, what is the foundation of modern ethics as far as like in a secular way? How do we define that? How do we teach the robots to be good? What is good? And it all sort of, I mean, if you want to switch,
you say what?
Maybe we can switch topics just because I think we'll run out if we keep looking at this one.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. You want to look at another clip then?
Yeah. So the very first one on topic 2.
You said something in the private chat.
Yeah.
Okay, boom.
So the first one on topic 2 there is basically when I started looking into that, what I found is that recently in the like 90s, 70s, and then again in the 90s, a guy named Kripke basically came into metaphysics with a theory of language that is very interesting. And so a lot of what I guess modern morality has to do with, first of all, we have to define our terms. So it's a very language driven thing, which is kind of a funny for us. Like, hey, everything is easy in programming except naming things, right? So that is what this topic starts with, is how do we even talk to each other? How do we name and how do we make sense out of sentences? Are they true or false?
Yeah. When it comes to like defining things and naming things, I think that is we're at an interesting point in civilization where that has become like a super important thing, and like what is an objective truth versus like, so but I feel like we go like super into, I don't want us to get political, basically. But.
No, of course not. No. It's not. It's all very technology related and like science and how do we train the AI, right? Like, because the political side of it, the AI is not going to be a politician, right? We need it to sort of be like a kid that we're teaching morality, but we sort of have to agree, right, first on what is good and what is morality. Bad.
Yeah. That's interesting. So I have a theory about AI, right? Where like people are worried about AI killing us and all of this stuff, right? But then there's not like one, let's say, AI entity, right? There are different AI entities, right? Like, I mean, there's ChatGPT and maybe there are ChatGPTs, right? And I think just like humans, if this thing is alive and can think for itself, right? Depending on your definition of alive, talking about defining things, wouldn't each AI have its own personality? And based off of that personality, then based off that personality, that AI is going to determine if it wants to be a friend of humans, or if it wants to destroy humans, or if it's just indifferent to humans, right? How do we really control something that thinks for itself, right? We would have to hope that it would have the same, quote, morals, generally speaking, right? Because morals are kind of in a way subjective. We would have to think that, okay, AI is gonna have sort of a personality. But then if we're saying that humans, at least this is my theory, if humans are good or bad based off of their personality, we have to come to the conclusion that there are going to be some bad AIs that try to take over the world and kill humans, and then there's going to be AIs that are, quote, allies that kind of, I guess, fight against them. Am I like being too ridiculous here?
No. And honestly, I think that's the reason I took a step back into language, because the morality topic and how do we teach the AI to be good, we almost sort of, like we already set up, we need to all agree what's good and bad. And I think before that, we all need to be able to communicate truth statements to each other without, let's watch one of that first video, maybe a minute of it, and then we'll chat again.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let me see. I'm gonna share this tab. Boom, and make this full screen. And I'm not able to skip this.
Yeah, we gotta watch the ads.
I just wanna break the rules. Boys and girls,
boom.
Oh, okay. You clicked the second one. I was hoping you'd play the first one.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's not the right one.
Let's see.
So that one's interesting, but that one's a different topic really than what we're talking about now.
So I see topic 2, and then the first clip is this one that I clicked on.
Oh, okay. Try the second one then. Sorry about that.
No worries. Is it?
Yeah. It's the second one.
Today we're going to be talking about Kripke, Wittgenstein on Rules in Private Language. This is a really important
This one?
Yeah. Yep. This is the one.
book.
Okay.
Kripke has the remarkable distinction of having revolutionized philosophy 3 separate times, really. I mean, first, by introducing the apparatus of modal logic in 1959. Second, by writing Naming and Necessity and giving those lectures in 1970. That brought attention to not just proper names, but to the theory of reference and to, in particular, the possibility of direct connection of the world to the philosophical forefront, reviving talk of essential properties, accidental properties, and in general, all these Aristotelian metaphysical categories that had been banished by the logical empiricists. And then the third time, with this book, Wittgenstein on Rules in Private Language, that posed, or really sort of found in Wittgenstein, sort of posed independently, a very serious skeptical problem about meaning. And so for at least a decade after the appearance of this book, a huge amount of philosophical discussion took place concerning these problems. And they still haunt us in place in the world today. Now, in a way, it's not difficult to explain the basic problem of the world. So here's the scenario we begin with. Suppose we're doing arithmetic, and I say, aha, here's a problem that perhaps you've never thought about before. 57 plus 68 is what? Now, let's do a little arithmetic problem. How would you do it?
Add 7 and 8 and then carry the 1.
Oh, good. Add 7 and 8. So we get 15, carry.
Did you want to say something?
No, sorry, I'm just going like this. So I think if you want to skip ahead, what he's going to say though is, imagine a scenario where, let's say there's a limit, let's say of our normal math, where after you add these two numbers together, the next result isn't them added together, it's just 5. And after that, every time you add those giant numbers together, you're just getting back 5. That would prove our math system has a limit, like let's say 57 trillion, right? If you keep counting past that, you're going to always get 5 apparently, right? So yes, skip ahead a little bit. And that's kind of that's the riddle he sets up here. And let's see what else he says.
And the second part of the challenge is epistemological. Second, he questions whether I have any reason to be so confident that now I should answer 125 rather than 5. And so there is also the epistemological challenge. And here we're asking for something like a justification. Is there not any fact, but any reason to be that I've met plus instead of plus? Now these, as Kripke points out, are closely related because you might think, look, if there is some fact, then of course I have a reason. I can have a reason that points to the fact. Conversely, you might think if I've got a reason, whatever that reason cites must be some fact. Now, I don't think it's too quick to think that therefore these stand or I think it's too quick, sorry, to say that these stand or fall together. It could be, for example, if there is some fact that implies this, but that my ability to know that fact is questionable. And so a solution to the physical problem doesn't necessarily solve the epistemic problem. There could be some fact, but a deeply hidden fact, a fact that I can't really have justified beliefs about. That would mean this problem could be solved without solving this problem. Conversely, I suppose you could say I do have reasons, but they're not reasons connected to any fact. They're a different kind of reason. And so perhaps we could solve this problem without that. So although they are closely connected, there are two separate conditions here on a solution.
So I guess for me, when I hear this, and the reason I'm bringing it up as related to like AI training and morality, is that even our math, right, is to a certain degree in question. If is it something we're experiencing and then kind of calling a fact, or so I think once we get our language to a point like speaking to each other, like they're sort of doing here, where it's more like a math, and we can, sort of get 20 minutes down the road into this video and say, okay, now I can make statements that are true in all possible worlds. Because have you heard of the problem with different possible worlds when humans speak to each other?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, like we want to be able to say things that are going to be true, like really true, no matter how you change the way you say it, right? And before, I think language and agreeing on things probably is the step before we all start figuring out morality, right?
I think you're in for a big that's a huge challenge, right?
Right.
Just because, well, I don't know. Fortunately, unfortunately, people's truths are influenced by their upbringing, their background, their experiences, and stuff like that. And when we try to come to objective truths, because a truth may conflict with someone's identity, it's difficult for them to give it up. And I think, and some people are more, let's say, emotionally intelligent, and some people are more, I guess, logical. And I feel like that's the biggest problem with coming up with truths, right? And then at the same time, it's like, okay, certain things are black, and when it comes to morality, certain things are black and right, aren't necessarily black and white. It's like, I forget what the name of it is, right? But it's the trolley experiment or something like that, where they basically give you two scenarios where it's like, okay, if there's a child on these tracks, and then there's an old lady on this track who and you had the choice to make who would decide who
that's
would live.
perfect. Like, you bring up a perfect thing where I come in and I say, guys, we're not even speaking the same language. You cannot have a trolley experiment without this stuff first, right? Like we're saying things to each other that the other person's not hearing the way we're saying it, and then we're responding with things that, like, we don't have the necessary. Because think of it like this way: like if I say the word chair to you, right?
Yeah,
a lot of different things could come to mind. That's like a cloud of reference material. Or if I say the person Aristotle, right? That has a cloud of attached reference material that you will know about, but it all affects our conversation on the topic, right? Even though, I think, honestly, we're playing with technologies way ahead of where we are in being able to talk to each other. And at least personally, I don't feel confident to speak in the way these people are talking about, sort of a math English, right? Like where I can't say certain things because it won't work in all possible worlds or something like that, right?
So the thing is, I agree with you. You're trying to get like to a basic, like, remove all the stuff that is not objective. It sounds like, sorry, subjective. That is not objective, right? Remove anything that is objective and agree on the things that we know can be objectively defined.
Or at least let's at least all understand the limitations of our communication with each other, right? We should know the boundaries of, like, what is this system we're all using all the time, right? To communicate these big concepts with each other. Let's get those ground rules really in place, and then we can start talking about important things, I hope.
But so I guess I get your idea, but like, I mean, to implement something like that, I mean, it really starts at, I mean, just education of the youth, right? I feel like if you were to really think about it, our generation, to use a term from Gen Z, is kind of cooked already.
Oh yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to, I think it's up to our generation to pull these ideas out of the ether here from YouTube and try to force them into something that makes sense, because we have to train these machines somehow. And
don't you feel like we're a little bit, the cat's already out of the bag? And I mean, this, AI is, you say what? You don't feel like the cat's already out of the bag? And
We'll be
No?
fine. Oh yeah, we'll be fine. We just have to. We got to get our ducks in a row quick. I mean,
Bro, the government doesn't even know like the difference between a Google manufactured phone, which is the Pixel, and an iPhone, bro. They don't know the difference. Like, and the government is supposed to be responsible for regulating things that are of this magnitude that could have a huge impact on society. But I mean, if you look at it, we just don't have the, I guess, the political, the legal infrastructure. No, I don't think any country or any society that currently exists is, because I mean, if you really think about it, society society has appointed governments, right, as the body, as the entity, right, that is the authority over stuff that has such a huge impact, right? That kind of directs us in a certain way. That, I mean, laws are supposed to be based off of the general morality of a country, right? But I mean, if we have a government that doesn't understand these subjects and these conversations, I feel like we're kind of doomed. The laws don't even.
Hang on though.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What if the AI learns this stuff for us, and then it can teach itself, and then it can teach us?
So we're gonna put our futures in the hands of something that is probably smarter than us, and just hope that it comes to a conclusion that is favorable to us.
Well, no, I mean, I hope it can explain it, what it figures out in a way that makes sense to us, or else it's not that smart, is it?
Well, it may come to the conclusion that we're not worth explaining morality to or creating the system for. And it's like, well, why spend my time educating these people when I could just, I guess, make my own people?
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't we just, we would, I guess, if it had that thought, it would explode. Okay. So we'll take care of that.
1 second.
Yeah.
1 second.
Okay.
Boom. Yeah, so I mean, look, it's like, okay, if AI,
yeah, like,
okay.
how about this? We put a big red button next to it, right? And it just has a hand and it says kill all humans. But really that button just turns it off. So if it ever decides to kill us all, it's very easy for it to do, but it accidentally turns itself off.
So you're gonna trick AI. And look at this. Look at this. You're literally on the web, right? Where ChatGPT and I forget the other ones, because like the Google version, Barn, is it called? Barn,
Yeah.
or yeah, Bart, whatever. They're using this data, right? They're aware that you just spoke about the red button. If you wanted for the red button to work, you shouldn't have said it here, right?
Well, that was just a decoy.
So
My
now
real plan
AI
is
knows that we're gonna. I mean, whatever version of AI is going to be created in the future, they have access to this video.
it was just a decoy plan. That's not the real plan. That's
We're going to talk about the real plan off camera, right?
That's right. Yep.
But I don't know. I feel like, okay, you're talking about having these conversations, but meanwhile, we're talking about going all the way back to trying to come up with objective truth. You have these companies.
No. I don't think it's about that. And I know that's kind of a rough patch, is coming up with the objective truth. And I know there's like religious and things that like I believe in, you might, but I don't want to get into that necessarily. I guess all I'm saying is, if we're serious about teaching AI to do, I guess, whatever humanity wants it to do, the good thing, we need to be serious about how we communicate our ideas to each other. And really, I'll take it seriously that there's this science out there of it, and maybe we should study up before we start trying to teach the machines how to think and talk,
Is we.
I'm talking about myself. Like, I want to program an AI, right? I want to have one in my own house. I don't want to rely on theirs.
My question to you is, you say we, right? When you say we, that could mean society as a whole. It could mean us in the tech industry. It could mean just the current gatekeepers or current pioneers in AI, which is the different companies like OpenAI, Google, etc., right? Microsoft. They could. What do you mean by we? Who is having this conversation? Who is coming up with these objectives?
I don't know. And yeah,
say
I'm
what?
just speaking from my personal experience, and obviously all those big companies, they probably have much smarter people than me tackling this problem. But when I think about it, this is what I think about as the first step. Like, if I'm gonna have my own AI, which I do want in my own house on my own server, and I'm training it, I need to, my personal feeling is that if I don't understand the English language and how I'm speaking to people and what the concepts mean, how can I possibly train this machine to talk to me back and do stuff? Like, I need to have some rules, and it's just for me, I guess. I don't mean we. Everybody can do it their own way if they want. This is my suggestion. You know?
So you're gonna have an AI at home, right?
Yeah. Have you heard of Vincodo? Vincodo?
No, Vincodo. No, I've not.
Yeah, it's like an open source one. It's close to GPT-5, I think, as far as the benchmarks. And you self-host it. It's open source. You have to have a lot of resources. Like, I guess it's expensive to train, right? And that's the part you want to do yourself because you want it to train it, right?
But you know what? That gets back to the point I was making, right? It's like, I feel like there's gonna be like these AI silos, right?
Yeah.
And you know, like how China has its own version of the internet, and it kind of like blocks out U.S. propaganda, right? It's the U.S. trying to get rid of TikTok because they want to control the internet. So so AI, I feel like, is going to exist like that. Well, even like, if you look
it's
at
almost like guns, right? It's like everybody has one, and we have
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, I'm gonna train my AI based off of my morals, right? There's gonna be a conservative AI, there's gonna be a liberal AI, right? A libertarian AI, a Russian AI,
but
and then there's
TV, then there's gonna be my AI, which gets it right. You know, the one.
Yeah, and then your AI is just gonna like be the one that galvanizes all of the AI
honestly,
technology.
I would hope someone does stumble upon and train an AI that is somehow morally good, and they come up with these rules, and there's people working on this. I think there are that, you know, are doing things to try to come up with the right solution, and we'll all see it, and we'll all start using that open source version. I would hope, you know, and we don't come up with these bad, nasty ones all over the place.
But still,
like Linux, right? We all use Linux because it's, you know, trusted.
The problem is Linux doesn't have its own thoughts, right?
Well,
I mean, the difference is, it's like, okay, how do we guarantee that the AI, right, or the version of AI, or the AI, I don't know how to describe it, right? AI is just a general term, but then if you think about it, there's like isolated versions of it. So let's say the version of AI, right? Or is it an entity? Again, I keep going back to that word, right? Is it an entity? Because it's, I mean, it can think for itself. It's separate from anything else, right? It has its own data set, its own opinions potentially. I don't know, depending on how you define opinions, but it's like, okay, we've defined these rules. It's like almost the nature versus nurture argument, right? It's like, okay, you have a child and you tell this child, hey, you don't kill humans. Humans are amazing. Free speech is great. But how do you know once you let this AI into the wild that they're not going to come up with their own thoughts and their own opinions and change and become this completely different from what you originally intended?
Why Why are you such a control freak, Steve B? Can't you just let the AI be who it is? It likes punk rock music, okay, and killing humans. It's a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, what if AI goes through like a a teenage phase?
Like, what if it gets a set of drums and it just plays all night long?
Yeah, it's like, and then you talked about individual people owning their own version of AI, their own piece of AI, and I'm scared of having like some kid and I don't know, like that just turned 13 that hates their parents having access to AI. Who like what? Some kid could tell the AI, "Hey, I don't like my parents," and then before you know it, the AI is like, "Yes,
You're right.
parents
I
are
mean,
people.
it does need to be regulated. Like you don't let the anarchist cookbook out on the internet for long, right? We can't have people building nuclear bombs, and we do need to regulate it. But I mean, to a certain degree, right now we're in the wild, wild west. So let's all build our
How
nukes.
do you regulate the internet, though? The internet is supposed to be free.
Well,
and
we'll let
accessible
the
to
AI do
everybody.
that. The AI
You
will
say
figure
what?
all of it out for us, Steve B. Don't you understand?
I'm starting to think you're AI. I'm starting to think you're an AI. I think you've been infiltrated already, and and you just keep saying AI is the answer. They're gonna take care of everything. Don't
Well,
worry about it.
The
You know-
reason I say that is because it's like we have no choice at this point. We're
Hey,
either gonna figure it out or we're gonna have to let it
you
figure
know
it out.
what's funny? You know what's funny? The Matrix. You know you've seen the Matrix. I don't
Yeah.
know what. Like I'm really bad at remembering movies and like the sequences and stuff like that. But there's a guy in the Matrix, right? That he was on like the side of Neo and Morpheus and all of those guys, and at one
Cypher.
point, like he's like, "What's the difference, right? When I meet a woman and or I eat a meal, it tastes the same. Why do I care? Why am I here fighting against the machines? You look like that." I feel like this is that's just foreshadowing, right? You are a traitor. You're on the side of the machines. You're pretending to be.
Hey, I'm just not going to fight against a tsunami. I know it's coming. I know it's happening. And I just say, look, we're either going to figure it out or we're going to have to let it figure it out because it's coming.
I feel like, sorry to be pessimistic, but I feel like the best case scenario, and then again, this is my theory, right? My scientific theory, that you end up with a whole AI is just like nuclear weapons, right? It's the new technology that wars are gonna be fought with, right? Yeah. And there's gonna be people that try to train AI for good, and there's gonna be people that train AI for bad, right? And again, morality, who says what is good and who says what is bad, right? That's subjective, I guess, right? Every country and culture kind of determines what is good and what is bad, and that's why laws vary between states and regions, et cetera, et cetera. But unlike nuclear weapons, where you have one person with this set of ideology using the nuclear weapons to do X, and then you have this other side using the nuclear weapons to defend these truths and ideals and capitalism or whatever it is. Well, now you have the AI itself that may have a third position that we are not aware of, right? And I think there's going to be like a situation where we have these AIs fighting against each other, right? Trying.
Yeah.
Some of them will
Like
be
Robojocks.
You say what?
Like Robojocks, the big mechs, they fight.
Yeah. Exactly. Some of them will be for humans. Some of them will be anti-human. Some of them will, be religious, and some of them won't, and some of them will be
like Warhammer. It's going to be Warhammer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
it's Warhammer.
Yeah. So I don't think we have as much control over this thing as we believe we do. It doesn't mean we shouldn't try to regulate it. Obviously, we should try to do something, right? We can't just hand the keys over to AI and say, "Hey, you guys are the bosses now."
Well, and on that note, I think let's all ponder this for another week, and we'll come back with some more interesting topics. Because I got to run, and I will tip my Magentlemen hat to everybody in internet land. Please like and subscribe. The Magentlemen are back, baby, and we're just gonna keep it up.
Yeah. I got super passionate at the end there. I didn't see the time, but yes. See you guys next time. If you're here for the end time, we love and appreciate you. And see you in the next video. Peace. Boom. You there?